This is Jim Marusak, and yes, we're looking at the next winter storm about to make its approach towards the upper Midwest, and this will actually be the first major storm of the season coming up. Where is it coming from? Well, it's basically this disturbance right here out in California, and it's going to make its way up this trough as it makes its way over the next couple days. I mean, right now at the surface, we're actually not looking too much going on. It just, it looks pretty benign to start. We can take a look at that. I mean, we've got basically a little low out here making its way onshore. We've got this setup low that's over from eastern Saskatchewan going towards the front range of the Rockies. That's actually going to set up how things look for the next couple days. So, I mean, first of all, we got our start. We've got our warm air piping in. Not too breezy yet, but it will start to pick up as time goes on. And as we go through time, I mean, this is right now this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon the 16th. By the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, what's going to go on is we actually have our next storm system starting to make its way. Part 1 of 2 is going to be over towards Omaha, and that's going to make its way to the northeast. We also this remnant area cold front that's up in northern Ontario. That's actually going to be a factor as we start to get some colder air from this piping in. As for what precipitation, we have just a few periods of light rain going from Alexandria, going back over towards Aberdeen, and eventually down towards Pierre. And here's the start of our snow out in the Black Hills of South Dakota, over towards Wyoming and southern parts of Montana. As we go over towards tomorrow night, that's when things start to get very interesting, because that's when our lows start to combine pretty much near the Omaha area. And we also have a warm front that's stretching all the way from Omaha, going over towards southeastern Minnesota, probably over towards areas like Red Wing, and then over towards Green Bay and back towards the TDOT. But a cold front going down towards Lincoln and Topeka. And what's this going to do? We're going to have a big area of snow, that stuff that was over in Wyoming. That's going to push all the way over towards northern Ontario, and all the way down towards International Falls, going back towards Fargo area, back towards most of South Dakota. But areas in extreme east South Dakota, also towards Nebraska, and also far northern Minnesota, like say St. Cloud, going over towards Duluth, and even towards areas east like near Terrace Bay in Ontario. We're going to be seeing some steady light rain develop. As for areas near the warm front and the cold front itself, could be a few pop-up showers, maybe a thunder shower down over towards Omaha, but not too much at this point. I mean, we're just starting to get things going as time goes on. As we go over towards Friday morning, because what's going to go on here, the low is going to make its way from Omaha over towards areas southeast of the Twin Cities, over towards, like, say, the Rochester area. And with this developing low, you can see it's getting really strong. But on top of this low, that's where the heavy snow starts to build in from northern Ontario, from Moosonee over towards Kapuskasing, towards Lake Nipigon, down towards areas west of Thunder Bay, over towards northern Minnesota, from International Falls, going towards Brainerd, over towards, like, say, Thief River Falls, Fargo, back towards Alexandria, also towards Aberdeen, and back towards northern Nebraska. But the big note with this as well, we are going to see some blowing and drifting snow with this western area, because this low is going to be developing really rapidly. So we're going to have to watch it as it makes its way to the east, and also some steady light rain for the Twin Cities. It's going to be off and on, but it's going to go on for most of the day, and there could be a few showers and thunderstorms. Nothing too big yet, but it's going to develop with time over towards southeastern Minnesota and over towards areas in Iowa. As we head towards Friday afternoon, that's when the really heavy stuff gets going. That's when we have pretty much heavy snow all the way from Lake Nipigon towards T-Bay, International Falls, most of Minnesota encompassed by snow. In the areas that aren't encompassed by snow, like say the Twin Cities, they will become encompassed by snow by the mid-afternoon. The steady rain continues for most of Ontario, including like say Chapleau, and also over towards northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, and also southern and western portions of Wisconsin. Could also be a few strong thunderstorms we're going to watch from over towards, say, eastern Missouri, towards most of Illinois, and parts of eastern parts of Wisconsin. As we get towards Friday night, the heavy snow continues from most of northern Minnesota and also especially over towards northern Ontario. I mean, we could be looking at several inches an hour with this band, and also, because of the tight gradient of this low, there will be some blowing and drifting snow. I mean, it's going to be a heavy, wet snow, but still could blow around because winds are going to be about 25 to 35 miles an hour, gusting to 55. And behind this, most of the falling snow will be over from Lake of the Woods going back over towards, like, say, Highway 75, but some of the snow, if it's still loose, could be blowing and drifting around a little bit. As we head towards the east, be some showers headed up towards the New Liskeard area, as well towards the Nickel Belt, and they'll be going all the way towards areas west of Toronto, towards London, Detroit, and also down towards areas like Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. Finally, we get towards Saturday morning, and most of the storm is basically in Ontario now, centered, like, say, in the Chapleau area and heading up towards the Nickel Belt. We have the steady light snow continue mainly in Ontario, but there's still going to be some blowing and drifting up around T-Bay, going back over towards Marquette. A few heavier lake effect showers on the backside over towards, like, say, most of the UP. A few lake effect snow showers down in the eastern part of Lake Michigan, not too bad. But there could be some areas of showers and thunderstorms with this cold front. Not necessarily as strong as they are on Friday, but we're still going to keep an eye on them because those thunderstorms still could pack a little punch with some high wind gusts. And behind those showers and thunderstorms, they could end as a little bit of light snow. So what does this all turn out to for a potential snowfall forecast? Okay, for pretty much areas on the map, this blue dot right here, that's the Twin Cities. So you can see the areas in the Twin Cities, like over towards Madison, Green Bay, down towards, like, say, even Colorado Springs, Lincoln, Omaha. Just looking at maybe an inch or two, nothing too bad. But you head further in this purple stripe, that you're going to see 2 to 4 inches. That includes areas like from Terrace Bay, the UP of Michigan, going to northern and western suburbs of the Twin Cities, going towards St. Cloud, also most of northern Nebraska, as well as southern South Dakota. And you can see in the heavier bands here to green, we're looking 4 to 6 inches. That encompasses most of the areas of the Boundary Waters, as well as over towards most of South Dakota. Could be seeing 6 to 12 inches not only in the Black Hills of South Dakota and Wyoming, but in a big stripe, pretty much from areas near Huron, Aberdeen, Watertown, going up towards Alexandria, Brainerd Lakes, going up towards International Falls, and all the way up towards Geraldton, Lake of the Woods, and eventually up towards Kapuskasing. Could be over a foot in this gold area. That's basically areas just east of International Falls, and also could be, like, say, Red Lake, Brainerd Lakes area, and also eventually up towards the northern parts of northern Ontario. Now, the one note with this snowstorm, it is going to be a very tight gradient in the north, so if this thing shifts a little bit further north, could be seeing some steadier snow over towards the Lake of the Woods, so you're going to have to watch yourself. So once again, I mean, big notes from this storm that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Main points, first off, is the first major storm of the season, winter-wise, so you're just going to have to be careful out there. The heaviest snow at this point looks to be from eastern South Dakota over towards northern Minnesota and then northern Ontario. As for the winds, we are going to be very windy, 25 to 35 miles an hour for the most part, gusting to 55. For those in the metric, that's 40 to 60 clicks, going up to 90. And some of that snow in the heaviest areas could be blowing snow. There's actually blizzard watches in western parts of Minnesota and eastern South Dakota. Now, how much is going to blow around because of how wet the snow is going to be? It's going to be a bit of a question mark, but we're going to keep an eye on it anyway. And the last note, please remember, in the first winter storm of the season, I know even in the Twin Cities there's going to be a problem because we're looking at, like, say, even just an inch or two. But a lot of people forget how to drive in the snow. Please remember, go slower, give yourself more distance to stop, because remember, even if you have an SUV that's going to start pretty well, you got to be able to stop the thing, and unfortunately, you get even that inch or two of snow, it goes liquefy, and then you go over a bridge, it ices up, guess what? You're going into the ditch. Not good. So just be careful, because this storm is going to be a potential nasty one, and more details tomorrow, hopefully with some better detail on that snow band. From the Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jim Marusak.